Okay, sis, so today we're gonna talk about deep throating, or what I like to call DT, because it's just easier to say. So yes, you have probably seen this in some adult entertainment, and perhaps you have even tried it yourself. And you have probably wondered, what the hell? How is this hot? But here's the truth. I want you to know that deep throating isn't like the gold standard for giving the best BJ ever. You don't have to gag, choke, or feel uncomfortable to be great at giving head. But for those of you who are curious, perhaps you're turned on by the idea of it, or maybe your partner is wanting you to try and you're like, let me dip my toes in and figure out how to do this. I'm going to teach you how to do it safely, with pleasure, and on your terms. So let's talk about deep throating, how to approach it, and why you don't need it to absolutely blow somebody's mind and their load. Deep throating actually became a cultural sex act in the 1970s after they literally named a film called Deep Throat. From there, porn kind of turned it into this iconic power move. Head pushdowns, gagging, drooling, all designed for the male gaze. None of it had anything to do with the female. But here's the thing that nobody tells you. Your body has a gag reflex for a reason, and that's for your airway protection. So when you feel that reflex kick in, that's not weakness. That's biology. And porn kind of sold us that pushing past that actually means we're really good at giving head, when in reality, it only works if you want to do it. And if your partner respects your boundaries and you actually want to do it. For instance, I absolutely love DT. However, I don't want to do it all of the time, because if I do it too many days in a row, it can really destroy my throat. And I have had some really bad experiences with it as well, because previously some partners might have done the head push when I wasn't ready, and it just cranks the back of your throat and makes me angry pretty fast. So you really have to trust your partner in letting you just slowly take your time to open up your throat, so that if you want to take it like a champ, you can. Because if they push past that, your safety and your nervous system gets all wound up and fires, and your gag reflex is gonna pop off, and you might wanna bite down. So this kind of leads me into my very first rule. Yes, this is a rule: communication, because we all already know communication is the ultimate form of lubrication, because the more we communicate, the wetter I get, and I know you will too, sis. So deep throating should never be forced. You should never feel like you have to do it. If somebody is pushing your head down and you haven't requested that, that's actually not kinky. That's disrespectful. And at best, it is just plain rude. So if you do want to try DT, make sure you talk about your non-negotiables beforehand, how you kind of want it to play out, what you're okay with, what you're not okay with. And always, when we are playing in spicier territories or new things, we are going to have a safe word, so that if no is something that is in your vocabulary, where like no actually means yes or stop actually means yes, you need to pick something completely different. Like cupcake means we are ending this show, and icing means that we are going straight through. Or it could be even more simple. Green means go, red means stop, yellow means tread lightly. I want you guys to kind of talk about why it turns you on, or why it might turn them on in the first place. Is it the power play? Is it the intensity? Is it the role play? Anything in the bedroom should always revolve around communication rather than pressure or feeling like you need to do this to please somebody or they're gonna walk out the door, because that's probably your anxious attachment, sweetie. And we can talk about that in another video. Now, if you are curious on how to do the deed, how to do the DT, I want you to start really slow, and I want you to do a regular BJ first. And I want to make sure that you are like at doing it, because I need you to learn what you actually love about giving oral and what skills you are comfortable with. Because we know that the best head is always given by somebody who is enthusiastic and wants to be there and loves what they're doing. If you do not love what you are doing, you can feel it. They can feel it. We all can feel it. We need to be showing up in a way where we all are saying yes and we all want to be here. Now, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start to kind of dabble with our gag reflex. And I actually did a whole video on the gag reflex to help you guys out. I will drop that down below. But you actually wanna be training the back of your throat bit by bit. You can't just become the throat goat out of nowhere. Maybe some of you can, but the majority of people can't. Little by little, we are gonna start to train our gag reflex. And we're gonna do so by using our clean fingers with really short nails. What we're gonna do is we're gonna insert one finger going towards the back of our throat until that gag reflex kicks in. We're gonna pause and we're gonna take some deep breaths until we relax. Though it's gonna be really hard to keep your finger in that spot, you're gonna wanna pull it out. I want you to do the best that you can with closing your eyes down and really setting into your body and breathing nice and slowly. Now, you don't have to go balls to the wall and shove it all the way to the back. You want to slowly go in until you hit your gag reflex and then pull back a little bit and sit there. And we're gonna do this daily for a few weeks until we can get into the rhythm where we can actually work past our gag reflex. This next stage, we are gonna be using a toy. I always recommend a suction cup dildo that is nice and flexible. This kind of helps you work those angles in a way that you would work them with a partner. So use the toy in different positions to kind of get a feel what feels best on your throat and on your neck and on your body. So this next step, you probably haven't heard before, and this is breath work. We are gonna use box breathing to help us drop into our bodies and actually relax. So box breathing is 4 seconds on the inhale, 4-second hold at the top, 4 seconds on the exhale, and then 4-second hold on the bottom. This is really important if you are somebody who tends to panic. So do the breath work and don't be afraid to use lots of spit and lots of lube. We do not want to be throat goating with a dry throat. So one of the things that I have recently picked up that I actually really like is Flint mints, and that shit, F2500 I think it is amazing for producing so much saliva. They're really hard to get in Canada, but in the States, I think they're in like gas stations and stuff. But the wetter your throat is, the easier it's gonna be. Now let's talk about positions and angles, because angles are kind of everything. I know on your knees looks really hot and you probably feel like an amazing seductress from down there. You know, like the eye contact, the power dynamic that's going on. I see you. I see you. But let's be real, it usually slams the back of your throat pretty damn quick, which means it's gonna make DT a lot harder. So one of my favorite positions to do is actually 69. Now, you don't actually have to be in the traditional 69 position. Instead of straddling your partner, you can actually be off to the side on one of their hips and in a kneeling position. This will kind of help you get the angles right in the back of your throat, but you also can be on top straddling them, giving them head while you are receiving some pleasure yourself. This might actually help you relax. But this way, you're on top and you get to control the pace. You get to control how much you want to take in and when you want to come up for some air. Now, there is a more advanced technique, and it is when you are laying flat on your back with your head hanging off the edge of the bed. Your male partner is gonna be standing, essentially feeding the back of your throat. Now, the bed is actually gonna be giving you the ultimate throat leverage, and it's gonna make those really deep angles a lot more pleasurable, but you're gonna need a non-verbal signal when you need to come up for air, because you're gonna need to come up for air. But here's the thing, this position is gonna give your partner a lot of control, so you need to make sure that you absolutely trust this person. But I also want you to save this one for when you have mastered your gag reflex, or this could be really not great. Honestly, the bottom line is that deep throating is a skill, but it's definitely not a requirement. You don't have to choke, and you definitely don't need to push past your limits. And you definitely don't want to hate the experience just to give mind-blowing oral. The hottest part actually isn't the depth, it's the confidence. It's the enthusiasm. And it's really the way that you own the act. When you are in control, you are doing it because you want to. And that is exactly what makes it unforgettable. And here's the thing, deep throating is just a performance if you're not connected with your body, because you can master every blowjob trick in the book. But if you don't know how to unlock your own pleasure, you will remain stuck in your head, worried about how you look, how you sound, if you're doing it right. And that's exactly why I created Awaken the Waters. This is my embodied guide to your own pleasure, to really unlocking your sacred flow, understanding your own pleasure, how to get out of your head and back into your body. And I also teach about squirting because there's a lot of mystery here and a lot of people want to know how to do it. But I teach you techniques that are all based around safety and arousal and that actual release. So if you ever felt like you give more than you receive, or perhaps you've been so focused on your partner's pleasure that you forgot about your own, this is for you. So if you're ready to move beyond that performance and drop into that orgasmic flow that was literally meant for you, I want you to join the waitlist to Awaken the Waters. The link is down below. All right, babies, that is it. That is all that I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video or if you have any questions, drop them in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this with your girlies. Share this with your girlfriend, whoever might be watching this. This type of content is really important. It's important that we talk about safety. It's important that we talk about pleasure and we are educating on sex and intimacy because this is something that we don't talk about when we should talk about it. And I want you guys all to be having mind-blowing sex where both people feel seen and heard, or maybe multiple people feel seen and heard. Whatever floats your boat, you know? Anyways, I will see you next week for another video. Cheers.